in the next lecture of based on the Fourier series. Now we are at the end of this particular module. The next few lectures we are going to deal with the Fourier integral and the Fourier transform, which is an advanced part from the Fourier analysis. Previously we have seen what is Fourier series, what is half range sine, half range cosine, and the complex form of the Fourier series. Now today we are going to discuss what is meant by a Fourier transform, how to evaluate it. Before we start for the Fourier transform, in today's session we are going to see what is meant by Fourier integral first. Means if a function is given to you, how to represent it in the form of a Fourier integral. See, f of x is a function defined in the interval minus n less than or equal to x less than or equals to plus n, which satisfies the Dirichlet conditions. Then and f of x is integrable in the interval minus infinity to plus infinity. F of x is integrable in the interval minus infinity to plus infinity. Then the Fourier integral theorem states that f of x is equal to 1 upon pi integration omega equal to 0 to infinity s is equal to integration from minus infinity to plus infinity f of s into cos of omega into s minus x d omega ds. Then f of x can be represented in this format, and this is known as a Fourier integral. Now this is nothing but 1 upon pi integration omega is equal to 0 to infinity s is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity f of s into bracket cos omega s minus cos omega x, that is cos a minus cos b. One can write cos omega x plus sin omega x sin omega x d omega dx. Now separating the integral over this addition, we get 1 upon pi integration omega is equal to 0 to infinity omega is equal to 0 to infinity cos omega x integration s is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity f of s into cos omega x d omega dx. This is the first term, plus second term is 1 upon pi integration omega is equal to 0 to infinity sin omega x integration from minus infinity to plus infinity sin omega s f of s into sin omega x d omega dx. We get. I'll just simplify this integral just by taking the help of the cos a minus b. Okay. Now, if your f of x, that is your given function, is even, if the given function is even, ultimately, I'll just write this f of s. F of s is also an even function. As f of s is even, and we already seen sin omega x with respect to x, the sin function is also an odd function. So this is even into odd becomes this is even into odd, so this function becomes odd, and we are integrating it from minus infinity to plus infinity, which is in the form of minus a to a. So hence the second integral becomes 0. Only the first term or first integral will survive. Hence, if the function f of x is even, we get the first term, that is called as the Fourier cosine integral. Now second, if f of x is an odd function, ultimately the f of s becomes an odd function. F of s is odd and cos omega x is an even function. Even into odd becomes odd. Again this integral becomes, again the first integral becomes a 0, and therefore the first term becomes a 0. Hence only the second term is survived. So when the function is odd, the second term will survive, and which is called as a Fourier sine integral. So this is how we can define the Fourier sine integral as well as the Fourier cosine integrals. Now let us come to the one problem based on this. We are interested in solving a problem to represent the given function as a Fourier integral. The question is, express the given function f of x is equal to 1 for mod x less than just a minute, for mod x less than 1 and is equal to 0 for mod x greater than 1. For this particular function we have to represent it in the form of a Fourier integral. Now come to this. Here f of x is a function which is discontinuous actually at x is equal to 0, it's fine. What we do is, in Fourier integral representation, f of x is equal to 1 upon pi integration omega is equal to 0 to infinity integration s is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity f of s into cos of omega into bracket s minus x d omega ds. We have defined the function f of s, which is exactly same as the f of x. We simply replace x by s and we write the definition of f of s. So we get f of s is equal to 1 for mod s less than 1 and is equal to 0 for mod s greater than 1. That is, f of s is equal to 0 in minus infinity to minus 1 and 1 to plus infinity. In this part, the value of f of s will be 0 and f of s is equal to 1 in the interval minus 1 to 1. Now, as the f of x is going to be a 0 in the interval minus infinity to minus 1 and 1 to infinity, this entire integral for this inner integral for these two ranges, that is 0, minus infinity to minus 1 and 1 to infinity, for these two ranges, this function becomes a 0, hence these two integrals will be 0. Only this inner integral will survive in the range of minus 1 to 1. Hence, my f of x is equal to 1 upon pi integration omega is equal to 0 to infinity integration s is equal to minus 1 to 1 f of s into cos of omega into bracket s minus x d omega ds. D omega ds we get. Okay. Now, as in the interval minus 1 to 1, the value of f of s is 1. Therefore, we get 1 upon pi omega is equal to 0 to infinity minus 1 to 1 f of s is 1. So 1 into cos of omega into bracket s minus x d omega ds. So this is 1 upon pi omega is equal to 0 to infinity. Now we are going to work out this integral. Integration of the cos is sine. So we get sine of omega into bracket s minus x divided by omega. Limits from minus 1 to 1. Here we are integrating with respect to s. So d omega will remain as it is. Now we substitute the upper and lower limit there. So hence we get a 1 upon pi integration omega is equal to 0 to infinity sine of omega into bracket 1 minus x divided by omega minus sine of omega into bracket minus 1 minus x divided by omega d omega. The next point is we have to just simplify the terms. This is 1 upon pi omega is equal to 0 to infinity. This gives us sine omega into bracket 1 minus x, which is nothing but sine omega. Wait, just a minute, I'll write this term as it is because I need to simplify this first. Here I am taking a minus in common. We get sine of minus theta. Sine of minus theta becomes minus sin theta. So this minus and the minus coming from here becomes plus sine of omega into bracket 1 plus x divided by omega d omega. Okay. Now come to this. Here I am getting sine omega into 1 minus x, that is nothing but sine omega, sine minus omega x. This is sine omega plus omega x, that is a minus sine a minus b, sine a plus b. The sine a minus b is sine a cos b minus cos a sine b, where sine a plus b is only the middle sign in between them. As we are going to take the addition of these two, you can observe if it is minus or plus, the second terms are same. But in case of minus, that is sin a minus b, the second term have negative sign. In case of sin a plus b, second term have a positive sign. So these two terms are going to cancel. So the only term survive, that is sin a cos b. And here also for plus also we get a sin a cos b. So we get 2 times sin a cos b. Hence this is 1 upon pi integration omega is equal to 0 to infinity sine of sine a, that is sine omega into cos omega x divided by omega d omega we get. Therefore we get 2 upon pi omega is equal to 0 to infinity sine omega into cos omega x upon omega d omega. So this is the Fourier integral representation of the given function. Thus from here we get an integration omega is equal to 0 to infinity. Here we have f of x sine omega into cos omega x divided by omega into d omega is equal to f of x. So this 2 upon pi I am shifting on the right hand side. This integral is continued. Omega is equal to 0 to infinity sine omega into cos omega x upon omega d omega is equal to pi by 2 into f of x. But f of x is 1 in case of mod x less than 1. So hence this is equals to pi by 2 in case of mod x is less than 1. F of x becomes a 0 for mod x greater than 1. So the value of this is 0 if mod x is greater than 1. Hence this is called as a Fourier integral representation of the given function. Okay, and one more thing still present over there is we need to this is for mod x less than 1 and this is for mod x greater than 1. But at x is equal to 1 there is a mod x is equal to 1 there is a discontinuity observed. So now we want to calculate the value of this function at mod x is equal to 1. As the function is discontinuous, the given function f of x is a discontinuous. Hence what we do is, I'll just explain it. What we do is, see, this is omega is equal to 0 to infinity sine omega into cos omega x upon omega into d omega is equal to this is pi by 2 into 1 by 2 into bracket limit x tends to 1 minus of f of x plus limit x tends to 1 plus of f of x. So when a function is discontinuous at a particular point, to find its functional value, we will follow this rule. So when I say x tends to 1 minus, that means this is the left hand limit and this is the right hand limit. We take the average of left hand and right hand limits. So when x approaches to 1 from the left hand side, the value of it will be 1. And when we approach it from the right hand side, the value of it will be plus 1. So hence this is pi by 4. I just made a mistake. When we approach it to 1 from left side, the value is plus 1, and we approach it from the right hand side, the value of this function will be 0 from this definition. Hence we get a pi by 4 in case of mod x is equal to 1. So for mod x less than 1, the value is pi by 2. Mod x greater than, the value is 0. And when mod x is 1, the value of the function, value of the integral will be pi by 4. So this is the representation of the given function in terms of the Fourier integral. In next lecture, we are going to see few problems based on the Fourier sine or Fourier cosine integral. Thank you.